So, first of all, what even are percents? What does that word percent mean? Do you know? Go ahead. Part of 100. Yeah, percent. You know how like century means 100 years? So, percent, cent meaning 100. So, per 100, okay? So, percent means out of 100. Let's just use our fast fives as an example. Your fast fives are only worth 5 points, right? They're not worth 100 points. But what I can do is I can change the number of points into a percentage, right? So that you can see, okay, if this had been worth 100 points, what would my grade have been, right? So, of course, we know that a 5 out of 5 would have been 100%. But if you get a 4 out of 5, you guys might just know this answer, but what is that as a percent? It's an 80%. And here's how you can do it. This one's not so bad. We can do this one in our head. But what happens if I gave you a quick 6? Would you know what a 5 out of 6 is? No, because the numbers aren't as nice. It's a little bit weirder. So we need to be able to convert a fraction into a percent. And here's how you do it. So to convert a fraction to a percent, it's actually really easy. Doesn't a fraction, isn't it really a division problem? Doesn't this also mean 4 divided by 5? Not just 4/5? You can read it either way, right? 4/5 and 4 divided by 5. It's the same thing. So I'm actually going to do the division that the fraction's telling me to do. So that's the first step. So divide the fraction. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 5. So you can even use your calculator if you want. If you do 4 divided by 5, what do I get? 4/5 comes out to be 0.8. That's a 5, not a 6. And then all you have to do with that decimal is multiply that decimal by 100. And that's your fraction as a percent. So step 2, multiply the decimal by 100. So 0.8 times 100 is just going to be 80%. Here's something that's really, really, really important, and I'm kind of going to be extra picky about it. If your answer is supposed to be a percent, you need to have the percent symbol on it. Because they're different numbers. 4/5 is not the same thing as 80, but it is the same thing as 80%. Okay? So let's put a star somewhere. Percents must have the percent symbol. It's okay if you can't make the percent symbol that well. I can't. I always kind of fudge it at the bottom, but so that's it for converting any fraction into a percent. It's literally those 2 steps. So you should never, ever, ever ask another teacher when you get a grade and it's a 60 out of 75, you should not be asking them what that is as a percent. You know how to figure that out. I, for one, will definitely not tell you, because this is math class. Your English teacher might be nicer than me. But what did I just say? Was it 60 out of 75? Go ahead, try that one. What would your percentage be if you got a 60 out of 75 on something? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I didn't mean for it to be the same thing. Yeah, you get 0.8, and then if I just multiply that by 100, I get 80%. Okay. Is this possible to even get? Could you get something like, oh, I don't know. Could you get something like 83 out of 80? How? Yes, on the quiz we just took. Some people got everything right and the bonus. So this should end up being something bigger than 100, right? Because 80 out of 80 would be 100. They got an 83 out of 80, so they did a little bit better. So I should get some percentage that's bigger than 100 here. So let's try it. 83 divided by 80. Did you get it as a decimal?
Yes.
1.0375? And then all I have to do to turn that into a percent, don't forget to multiply it by 100. So this person would have gotten 103.75%. Notice how my final answer, the percentage, after I multiplied by 100, you have to put the percent sign on it. Otherwise, it's not the same thing, right? So be careful. What if I gave you, well, let's make a little chart. How about that? You're eventually going to have to be able to convert between a fraction to a decimal and to a percent. So you want to be able to sort of go pick up on any one of these and get the other two. Okay, so let's just make a little chart. So we just did two where I started you off with a fraction, you gave me the decimal, and then we got the percent. So let's just have one in our chart. Let's say, I don't know, let's say someone on that last quiz, it was worth what, 48 points? Let's say someone got a 40 out of 48. What would they have gotten as a decimal? Go ahead, what is it?
0.8.
And then as a percent, Pablo, what's it as a percent?
83%.
Yeah, I'm going to go one decimal place out and just put the bar on top, but you're right. Now, what if I had given you the percent? Could you work backwards?
Yeah.
So let's say someone got a, oh, I don't know. We'll start off easy. What if someone got a 75%? On some test or quiz or whatever it is. What would that have been as a decimal? How would you do that? How would you go from this number to this number? Yes. Yes, if I multiplied by 100 to go this way, I'm just going to divide by 100 to go back. Okay, so I just want to take 75 and divide it by 100, which is the same thing as 0.75. And then, how do you turn a decimal into a fraction? You might know this fraction just in your head, but what if you didn't? Jen?
You can just put 75 over 100.
Yes. If you can say the decimal properly, any decimal properly. Remember, it's not really 0.75, right? We're just lazy and we say 0.75. How do you say that the right way? Jen?
75
Right. Isn't that 75 hundredths? Right? That's the same way that you say the fraction. 75 hundredths. Oh, yeah. 75 hundredths. But what don't I like about this fraction? You tell me. What's the matter with that fraction? You got to reduce it. Yeah, that's all. So I can reduce by 25 and get 3/4. Let's try one where I start you in the middle. I give you a decimal, and you have to find the other two. How about, oh, I know, 0.08. What is that as a percent? It is not 80%. Because what do you do with this to get this? Multiply it by 100, which is the same thing as moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So what's the percent? 8. 8%. I don't want to think about this as someone's test grade because nobody would get an 8% on something. Let's think about it as what?
Wait,
Yeah.
what's the lowest you've had somebody score in a test?
0.
Really?
They never take it.
No, I meant they do take it, like they do the whole thing.
I'm sure I've had a 0.
Really?
I've been doing this like
Like,
49
0,
years.
like on a test you fully did, you would have had to like purposely get something wrong.
I don't remember. I try to block those memories out.
That'd be pretty hard to do.
You'd be surprised. Okay, so let's pretend maybe they have a goal. Maybe they're trying to fundraise for something and they're 8% of the way there. Let's think about this one in terms of that. So now I want to figure out what fraction they are. How do I get the fraction? Go ahead. Right. Again, if you say that decimal the right way, that's 8/100ths. So 8 over 100. And then all I have to do is reduce that. So what number goes into 8 and 100? 4 does. And that goes in 2 over 50. So there would be my fraction. Okay? Now, not all decimals are 2 decimal places either. Let's do one like, say you had yeah. Oh, whoops, thank you. 2 over 25. Thanks. Let's do a decimal that's 0.012. What would that be as a percent, Jed? 1.2%. I'm still taking this number and I'm multiplying it by 100. That never changes. To get this number to this number, I'm always just going to multiply by 100. So that lands me at 1.2%. Okay, so again, maybe let's stick with their fundraising. They're only 1.2% of the way to their goal. They got a ways to go. How would I figure out this fraction? Go ahead. Yes, the right way to say this number is 12 thousandths, right? Remember, it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then so on. So this would be 12 thousandths. So I put 12 over 1,000 this time, not 100. In this case, it's over 1,000. So let's reduce. I could do it by 4 again. So that'd be 3 over 250. All right. Does this all make sense? Is this new to anybody? Have you done this before? Oh, yeah, maybe a little, yes, no, a little bit. So we only have 10 minutes left. I'm actually going to stop this here.